This brings me to something I really have to play. This is, now she's only a Michigan State Congresswoman. This is Cynthia Johnson. But this woman is clearly ill. She's clearly not a well person. Here's something she posted on Facebook a while back. This is cut 8.
All you soldiers of Christ, soldiers against racism, soldiers against misogyny, soldiers against domestic violence and domestic terrorism. Soldiers, rise. It's time for you to rise. Soldiers.
All right, so this is not a well woman. And during one of the fraud hearings on the election, she went after a witness. I was going to play this on the air at the time, but I didn't have time. She went after a witness who had been testifying that she had seen, she was, just an ordinary American citizen who said she had seen bad things, irregularities taking place in the polling places, in the counting places. And this is what the same woman did to her during that hearing. This is cut 7.
I had my maiden name. That's my dad's house name. It's a long name.
Can you spell it, please?
K like kite, IZHAKEKARA.
Representative, what is your question, please?
I'm asking the question.
Well, please ask.
She gave a lot of information. I just want to know who she is.
Representative, please, it's reasonable to ask the name of the person.
Yes.
I'm with you there. But now that you know it.
What was your first name?
Jessie.
Jessie.
Jessy, not E.
Jessy.
Y.
Thank you very much.
Okay, now please move on to your question, Representative.
That's it.
She asked her name. She asked her maiden name. She asked her first name and spell your name. That's intimidation. That's what that is. And if you don't think so, here is what she now says to Trump people protesting the election, protesting the irregularities in the election. Here is what she is saying now. This is cut 6.
So this is just a warning to you Trumpers. Be careful. Walk lightly. We ain't playing with you. Enough of the shenanigans. Enough is enough. And for those of you who are soldiers, you know how to do it. Do it right. Be in order. Make them pay.
So she's been removed from her committee appointments by the Republican majority. But, how different is she from the New York Times and from YouTube and from NBC and CBS, who sent mobs out into the street over George Floyd and made it encourage the lie of police racism in order to gin up violence in the streets, which has suddenly stopped after the election, and who lied to us about the violence and told us it wasn't violence, and now want to censor people who raise legitimate questions about the way this election was run. Want to censor everybody. They want to censor anybody who speaks out against the Democrats and against their connections in China, against their corruption, against the things that they do to people. What is the difference? What is the difference between this woman threatening people, calling on people who may not be very well themselves to rise up against Trump supporters? What's the difference between them and calling out people into the streets to loot and to burn and to terrorize under a completely false story of police racism? I don't understand the difference. When I say it's all one story, what I mean is all people who think alike start to do the same things. And all people who think that Fidel Castro and the communists have a complex legacy instead of a legacy of slavery, they're all going to be in the same camp. And it's not going to be a problem for them to censor their movies for China. It's not going to be a problem for them to censor Americans to make sure that they get elected. These are the things we're going to be dealing with. They're big things. They're real things. It's going to take time. We've got to live in the meantime and live in truth. We got to live in the truth, not in what gets us ginned up and not in what gets us excited going forward, because this is a fight over information and over telling the truth, because the truth is what keeps us free. I hope you enjoyed that clip from The Andrew Klavan Show. If you did, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you stay up to date on all our future content.